And welcome back to Regaining the Balance. This is Matt again, bringing you the final section of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And, okay, the balance, let's see, here we go. Sounds good. So, here we go. We're going to be doing the Emerald Tablet 15, Secret of Secrets. Now, in the very beginning of this book, in the introduction, all the way back in the very first video, they stated that when they took this, when they got these tablets, they actually left out the last two books because the information of it was too powerful to just give to anybody. So, you know, take that as you will. It is what it is. But anyways, we're going to really quickly read the Secret of Secrets here. So if you guys like the series, please hit the like button, share if you think other people would enjoy it, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Otherwise, I'm going to give a couple of little things to comments and things like that in between and at the very end, since this will be the very last one we do on this. So, without further ado, let's share the screen and get into it. So, the Supplementary Emerald Tablet 15, Secret of Secrets. Now ye assemble, my children, waiting to hear the secret of secrets, which shall give ye power to unfold the God-man. Here we are. And before I get into this, I'll restart this, but they talked about the God-man in the last book as well. And I make a point about that in the, I don't know if I did in the reincarnation video. I know I definitely did in the Phoenician, was Jesus a Phoenician part 2 video, when I talk about the use of the word El, because El in Phoenicia and actually a whole range of religions in that whole region was basically, essentially especially Phoenician, was the high god, was the god that was outside of all this, just like that last book was talking about, right? Or in Judaism, El Elyon, right? It's exactly the same thing. They just took it from that. But I did a video about how in Romance languages, the words Il and El, which represent both ways of saying the god El, Most High, right, is used as a descriptive thing towards man and woman in all things. So it's essentially a word in Romance languages, without even knowing it, people are constantly referring to each other and other things around them as divine. So keep that in mind. If you haven't checked that video out, go check it out, because I think it's a pretty cool, interesting video that exposes some things about Christianity, and it might not actually be a Hebrew-based religion. So, coming back to this, sorry about that. Secret of Secrets. Now ye assemble, my children, waiting to hear the secret of secrets, which shall give ye power to unfold the God-man, the divine man. Give ye the way to eternal life. Plainly shall I speak of the unveiled mysteries. No dark saying shall I give unto thee. Open thy ears now, my children, hear and obey the words that I give. First I shall speak of the fetters of darkness, which bind ye in chains to the sphere of the earth. Darkness and light are both of one nature. Different only in seeming, for each one rose from the source of all. Darkness is disorder, light is order. Darkness is transmuted, light is the light. This, my children, your purpose in being, transmutation of darkness to light. Hear ye now the mystery of the relations of life to the earth, where it dwells. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. Yep. Okay, good. Hear ye now the mystery of nature and the relations of life to the earth where it dwells. Know ye are threefold in nature, physical, astral, and mental in one. 3 are the qualities of each of the natures, 9 in all, as above, so below. In the physical are these... Okay, I get it. Thank you. In the physical are these channels, the blood which moves in vortical motion. How interesting. Reacting on the heart to continue its beating. Magnetism, which moves through the nerve paths, carrier of energies to all cells and tissues. Akasha, which flows through the channels, subtle yet physical, completing the channels. Each of the three attuned with each other, each affecting the life of the body, form they the skeletal framework through which the subtle ether flows. In their mastery lies the secret of life in the body, relinquished only by will of the adept when his purpose in living is done. I like that. So, very interestingly enough, they're talking about the magnetism and the akasha, which is the spiritual energy, essentially. But one of the things that's very interesting, if you guys have never heard of the Heart Math, as in mathematics, Heart Math Institute, they've done some extremely interesting scientific work on the heart. One of the things that's fascinating of the heart is that when it beats, it gives off dozens of frequencies at the same time, which actually speaks to your entire body all in an instantaneous way. And that is really how your body communicates with itself through that power, that fire from you, and because it happens faster than the speed of light, and it happens instantaneously all over the place, which is a very fascinating thing. And it seems like this paragraph is kind of explaining that in a way. Just wanted to make a little comment about that first. So continuing, three are the natures of the astral mediators between above and below. So that would be like the Holy Spirit, essentially. Not of the physical, not of the spiritual, but able to move above and below. Three are the natures of mind, carrier it of the will of the Great One. Attribute. Yes, I'm sorry, arbitrator. I don't know, my mind didn't want to put that word together. The three are the natures of mind, carrier it of the will of the Great One, arbitrator of the cause and effect in thy life. Well, this could also be the what Christians would call the Holy Spirit. Thus is formed the threefold being, directed from above the power of the four. Above and beyond man's threefold nature lies the realm of the spiritual self. Four is in its qualities, just like the quaternity, guys. Look at that. You see? 3, 3, and 4. Okay? Now, if you're listening to this video now and you haven't listened to the quaternity lecture, I suggest definitely checking it out, especially after I read this part. Okay, so above and beyond man's threefold nature lies the realm of the spiritual self. 4 is in its qualities, shining in each of the planes of existence, but 13 in 1, the mystical number. Based on the qualities of man are the brothers. Each shall direct the unfoldment of being. Each shall channels be of the Great One. On earth, man is in bondage, bound by space and time to the earth plane. Encircling each planet, a wave of vibration binds him to his plan of unfoldment. Yet within man is the key to releasement. Within man may freedom be found. When ye have released the self from the body, rise to the outermost bounds of your earth plane. Speak ye the words, Dore Lila. Okay, Dore Lila. Then for a time your light will be lifted. Free may ye pass the barriers of space. For a time of half the sun, 6 hours, may ye pass the barriers of earth plane and see and know those who are beyond thee. Ye to the highest worlds may ye pass, to see your own possible heights of unfoldment. Know all earthly futures of soul. Bound are ye in your body, but by the power ye may be free. This is the secret whereby bondage shall be replaced by freedom for thee. And people like Edgar Casey, who absolutely did exactly what this is describing, who would put his consciousness to sleep and go in all of space-time and was able to reach any knowledge he desired, said over and over again that we all have the exact same abilities as he did. He doesn't understand how he was able to use it so easily, but keep that in mind. And if you guys don't know much about Edgar Casey, I would suggest you taking a look. He's a very, very fascinating individual, and he helped to cure thousands of people from ailments that doctors couldn't touch. So, continuing. Calm let thy mind be, at rest be thy body, conscious only of the freedom from the flesh. Yes, this is what happens when you get really good at meditating, by the way, okay? You get to a position or a portion in your meditation and you don't know where your body lies and the area that surrounds you. You don't know where it starts and where you don't know where it continues, you know. I've many a times on my couch meditating, and I have just become my couch in the entire room, and it's a crazy feeling because where it takes you mentally and spiritually is something else. But continuing, I'll restart this. Calm let thy mind be, and rest be thy body. Conscious only by a freedom of flesh, center thy being on the goal of thy longing. Right, okay, so center thy being on the goal of thy longing. So center your being on the ideas that you need to concentrate on, you know. Oh my goodness, there's actually a bird that is knocking on the wall of my house at the moment. If you guys can hear it, I apologize. I'll try to get through it. Hopefully he'll go away. Think over and okay, so center thy being on the goal of thy longing. Think over and over that thou wouldest be free. Think of this world, lu la il gan, over and over again in thy mind. Let it sound, la il gan, okay, or whatever it works for you guys, you know. Drift with the sound to the place of thy longing, free from the bondage of flesh by thy will. Hear ye while I give the greatest of secrets, how ye may enter the halls of Amenti, enter the place of the immortals as I did, stand before the lords in their places. And again, this word that he uses, this is just his mantra that he's giving you a mantra to use. But whatever mantras you guys feel comfortable with, that's what you should use, okay? And understanding is the mantra, the word, is the one thing. It's the goal of thy longing, okay? The things that you really want to think about and delve into is what you think about. You say the mantra, but this is what you think about underneath it. Lie ye down and rest of thy body. Calm thy mind so no thought disturbs thee. Pure must ye be in mind and in purpose, else only failure will come unto thee. That is a very important point. Don't forget that. Vision, Amenti, as I have told in my tablets, long with fullness of heart to be there. Stand before the Lord in thy mind's eye. Pronounce the word of power I give mentally. And here we go. Here's magic words. I'm going to stumble through. Mekut, look at that. El, you see that? Mekut El, Shab El, Hal Surben El, Zabrut Zin Ephraim Quar El. Relax thy mind and thy body, then be sure your soul will be called. And if you guys don't know what El means, you should definitely check out Was Jesus a Phoenician video 1. I do a very a decently in-depth part early on in that video about El. Continuing, now give I, and also the Phoenicians, by the way, are attached to the hip with when it comes to the religious ideas of the Egyptians. And Hermes and Thoth are very much Egyptian character. So continuing, now give I the key to Shambhala, the place where my brothers live in darkness, darkness but filled with the light of the sun, darkness of earth, but light of the Spirit, guides for ye when my day is done. Leave thou thy body as I have taught thee, pass to the barriers of the deep, hidden place, stand before the gates and their guardians, command thy entrance by these words, quote, I am the light, in me is no darkness, free am I of the bondage of night. Open thou the way of the 12 and the 1, so I may pass to the realm of wisdom, unquote. When they refuse thee, as surely they will, command them to open by these words of power. Quote, I am the light, for me are no barriers. Open, I command, by the secret of secrets. Edom el ahim sabert zur Adom, unquote. If thy words have been truth, quote unquote, of the highest, open for thee the barriers will fall. Now I leave thee, my children, down, yet up to the halls shall I go. Win ye the way to me, my children. Truly my brothers shall ye become. You notice he says brothers, right? Thus finish I my writings. Keys let them be to those who come after, but only to those who seek my wisdom. For those am I the key and the way. And and this almost looks like Elohim, right? Edom el ahim sabert zu Adom, or Adon maybe? Adonis? Who knows? So very interesting, guys. This is the end of this book, this very interesting book, this Secret of Secrets, the entire tablets, the emerald tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. And and then it claims, if you guys want to go back to the first video and go back to this, claims this was written in stone 50,000 years ago to 36,000 years ago BC. So who knows? Believe it, don't believe it. I think there's definitely some things to take away from all these books, and then this last one here, The Secret of Secrets, it's just sort of giving you a little bit more on the meditative states and how you can get there. And I think it's important because, like I said before, before I even started reading into this, I was giving you my own personal understanding of it, and based on my experience. And funnily enough, it just goes and really just actually reiterates almost exactly what I said. Not almost, but similarly. Because again, in my own spiritual journey, I've gone through all the painstakingly gone through the various religions of the world, including different shamanism and things like that. And there are people out there who have entire channels that just are completely against these ideas. And, may El bless them. And I have no problem with them. Often these people are usually pretty angry, and they like to get into heated debates, and everything about them is about their ego. And I find that to be very, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't always like it because a lot of people come off, full of themselves, and like, I try really hard, guys, to just share with information, tell you what I think, tell you how I've come to this conclusion, share some of my own personal experience, and let you guys take the rest of it on your own and do with it as you will. That's the only way to really do any of this stuff. I mean, I've been in like places in my life where I was a teacher to children for various things, not an official teacher as in schools, but in other ways, through the Boy Scouts, through other stuff. I grew up actually in a family daycare house, and I know children very well. But one of the things that I learned a long, long time ago, and this applies to adults just as much as applies to children, because realistically, people want to call themselves mature and adults, but I look around society and I don't see too many actual adults. I see a bunch of people who never ever grew up in the worst kind of way. You know what I mean? I didn't grow up in some of the best kinds of way, because I can literally revert into a child and be the most ridiculous person in the world, and children love that. And that's one of the reasons why me and kids get along so well. I turn into a child. I think like them. I have an imagination like them, and we have a lot of fun. We create crazy adventures and have a good time. And and I see a lot of adults that have just been smashed down by the chaos, as this book constantly talks about, the chaos of life, the chaos and the work and the desperation to just try to keep your head above water. Because in a way, the physical life just owns you. It owns you so completely that you don't even have time to do this kind of meditation. You don't have time to actually ask questions and and have the right answer, or have any answer for that matter. There's a really great proverb in the Egyptian Proverbs video I did, but I have it up now, I think. Oh yeah, so here's the proverb. It's great when in the terms of a question and looking for information and trying to find like truth about stuff. Okay, people often will just they'll go after whatever and be like, oh, well, this is the truth, and blah, 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 blah. And then they'll stamp their feet, and they'll defend, and they'll scratch, and they'll complain, and they'll scream, and they'll gnash their teeth, as they say. But the very nature of them doing that means that they're not even sure about it. People who are sure about spiritual truths are people who actually live them, and they know it because hell, I'm not hell, but they've actually had the experience of the illumination of going through the conflict. And so here's this interesting proverb, and I'll read this to you guys real quick. An answer brings no illumination unless the question has been matured to a point where it gives rise to this answer, which thus becomes its fruit. Therefore, learn how to put a question. And I think that is extremely important. I mean, talk about a very truthful proverb. And then the one underneath it, because this relates to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth here, when it talks about the profane and the initiated, and the people who are ready for it, the initiated, and the profane. This is what it really kind of means by this. Okay, so quoting, quote, "What reveals itself to me ceases to be mysterious for me alone. If I unveil it to anyone else, he hears mere words which betray the living sense. Profanation, but never revelation." And I think that is another absolutely amazing proverb that really is a crux of so much of what people don't get. Especially when they talk about religions and they talk about spirituality and all these things. I mean, it's a truth. And especially the putting the question, like learn how to put a question, that is huge. And people do not know how to learn. I didn't know how to put a question until I stumbled around in the dark and found that I was always asking the wrong things, which is a problem with prayer, is that people pray for money and they pray for good things in their physical life and in the illusion. And maybe what they really should be praying for in a lot of ways, or meditating, is for illumination, for understanding, for knowledge, for truth. Because with those things, that and comes power, and with that kind of power comes the understanding of how to make the right decisions in times where you really need guidance, or there's a specific situation where you need patience and love and an encompassing understanding of situations, so that you understand that, okay, if I rashly decided this or if I rashly decided that, this is where it's going to take me. And as you get really good at doing this, and I can tell you I've gotten really good at doing this myself, so good that it's scary sometimes. You can see, when things unfold in front of you, a conflict, and before you enter into that conflict with any kind of decision, you start to see all these various possibilities and probabilities and where those things will lead you. And you think, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want that. This seems like a good choice. And you take it, and the fruit that it bears is what teaches you that your decision was right. And that's the only real teaching tool we have in our lives, because in the simple fact of the matter is that the only thing you have to control is your mind. Everything else out there, guys, is seems out there. It obviously is not really in the truer sense of the word, but in the game that we're playing in this life, in this reincarnative game we all play with each other, you have only yourself and your decisions to take control of. And that's why forgiveness is such a huge thing, and why Jesus Christ actually, it was like the number one thing he constantly over and over again spoke about, is forgiving each other. Because without it, you're not going to get anywhere. Forgiving yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. So I do appreciate you guys joining me today, and if you liked the video, please hit the like button. Share it if you think other people would enjoy these readings of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Otherwise, much love to all of you, and I'll be back with some more interesting videos. I think the next one we'll start on is Carl Jung's Religions East and West, the psychology of religions East and West. It's a fascinating book. So much love to you again, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.